Africa is the youngest continent with over 60% of its population under the age of 25. This presents immense potential, but it also brings significant challenges. Issues such as unemployment rates, limited or irrelevant education, drug abuse, public health concerns like HIV are affecting the youth in profound ways. Beyond this, many young people feel excluded from the political decision-making of their countries, sometimes leading to unrest and demonstrations that threaten national security. Today, we will explore critical issues shaping the future of our society, a topic that resonates across Africa and beyond. Youth development and the engagement of the Generation Z, Gen Z. Welcome, this is The Perspective. With us today is Abi Agina, a veteran financial journalist and CEO at Abiron Media Group. Abi, thanks for accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much, Sam, for hosting me. I know I'm a bit jet-lagged, but I had to come for this show.
I am so honored and I am humbled that you made time to come.
Thank you.
So let's start by understanding the current state of affairs, especially in the youth, African youth in particular. Africa has a massive youth population, like I've just said, but unemployment remains a persistent challenge. What structural factors do you think are behind this?
Well, thank you, Sam. And the challenge of unemployment is quite severe in Africa. We're talking about a population of 40% of Africa's youth are unemployed. This is according to data from the World Bank. And when you look at 40%, that means out of every 100 people, 4 are unemployed, which is a very dire situation. It has a big impact when you're looking at crime, drug abuse, dropouts of schools. So the youth population is a ticking time bomb if it is not solved. When you look at the bigger conversation right now, many governments in Africa are struggling to address the issue of unemployment because we've seen global economic growth has not been growing as fast as they had projected. We're looking at right now, global economy is expected to grow at 3.2%. Compare that to sub-Saharan Africa. We are seeing quite a number of countries struggling with many issues, from debt, countries are struggling with climate change, countries are struggling with education and skills gap. So when you look at the youth population, they are at the epicenter of bearing all this burden. Right now, Africa's youth, especially an interesting demography which is referred to as the Generation Z. These are people who were born between 1990 and 2000. These are constituting a big percentage. We're looking at 31% of the Gen Z being Africa's population. And the population is growing at a fast rate. So Africa governments must seize the moment and see how do we engage these people. Because when you have the youth and they do not have gainful employment, they will resort to all manner of vices. By this I mean, we are seeing a lot of uprisings happening right now in Africa that are majorly led by the Generation Z. These are the young people who feel they want social justice, they want fairness, they want an opportunity to play active in the country politics, and also in the growth of the economy. So if this demography is not engaged, Sam, this is a problem waiting to explode.
That's true. Abi, education systems in most African countries are usually criticized for being outdated or irrelevant for the job market. How do you think these education systems can be aligned to fit what is happening on ground today?
Well, Sam, you've hit the nail on the head. Education is the biggest pillar that will help African countries to be able to leapfrog into the future that they want. As we speak right now, many countries are still in the old age in terms of having the right skill set. We are having a lot of disruptions that technology has brought to the table. When you're looking at the education system right now, it is not aligned to the global best practice. So many of the young people graduating from institutions of higher learning, especially public institutions, they may not be well equipped to give them the right exposure. From a teaching perspective, institutions are doing great. But now, how can they get more practical experience? How can they start joining the job market even before they graduate? So when you're looking at the education system, there has to be a paradigm shift when it comes to, are we aligning to where the globe is going? Are we seeing more of courses that are more future oriented? We're looking at people studying engineering, people studying medicine, people studying law, people studying journalism, people studying education as a science. So these are, Africa has to reflect deeply and get the right investments, especially in institutions of higher learning. I've seen a couple of countries doing very well. South Africa is doing quite well in terms of its education system. We've also seen Kenya is doing quite well. Tanzania is catching up, as well as Rwanda. But we are living in a day and time where we need to upgrade our institutions of higher learning, have them to be able to offer industry-based experience, so that when the young people are out there in the field, they are able to resonate with what are the job requirements. Many of the challenges that Africa is facing right now is a skills mismatch, where you've been hired as, say, a technician, but you don't have the right exposure. So it lowers your employability. And when it lowers your employability, it means you don't get the right revenue that you should have gotten from that job. And also the perception that the education system is training for people to be employed has to change. African countries must now train people who can be entrepreneurs, where you say, I've acquired this knowledge, how can I start my own enterprise? So we need to be training more of entrepreneurs, as opposed to just training people who want to be employed in the white-collar jobs, where you work from 8 to 5 p.m. So those are the areas I feel that the African governments must really address, especially now that we are seeing the youth population is demanding for more. The youth of Africa are ambitious. They want more. They want to compete with their counterparts in Europe. They want to compete with their counterparts in the US. So we have to step up, and there's no turning back, because if we don't step up, it means we will continue to have the perennial challenge of young people complaining that there are no jobs. And you know, when the young people are not engaged, they'll be on the streets.
You have raised very pertinent issues about education. I want us to talk about the roles that these young people are given, or the roles that they feel they hold or possess. For example, many young people in Africa they feel excluded out of political or leadership roles. What do you think causes this?
I'd like to quote the words of former President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, who said, if you do not engage the Gen Z, we are going to be in trouble. And this says it all, that the young people have been already disenfranchised from the active politics of their countries. And this is an issue that is not just affecting Kenya. We've seen young people demanding to be included in politics in South Africa, Malawi, Egypt, and to name but a few. So the young people are saying, we don't want stories of being told we are the leaders of tomorrow. They say we are the leaders of now, of today. So this is a very poignant issue right now, that the young people are demanding to be on the table. They've always been on the menu.
Yeah, true.
As getting cheap votes, getting them to do concerts, but they are now saying we want political appointments. I've seen one of the countries that has stood out is Rwanda. Rwanda has a balanced approach towards engaging the young people. When you're looking at top executives in Rwanda's corporate sector, you have young people. When you're looking at cabinet, we have representatives who are also young people. And this must be the conversation that African leaders must have. It is not enough to give the young people handouts. It is not enough to assume that they exist. They want to play a more active role in the goings on of that country. So leaders must now say, how can I tap into the young people? We've seen revolutions happening, which have been led by these young people, Sam. And all they are saying is, can we be part of the political conversation?
And it's actually this frustration that eventually leads into demonstrations, people up and down on the streets fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those countries that haven't yet mastered the art that actually these young people are important, I think it's high time they looked at their decisions.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
So, Abi, do you think the current political systems in Africa are prepared to accommodate the aspirations of the Gen Z?
Unfortunately, they are not yet prepared, because if they were prepared, we'd already have seen the results. Many countries have relegated the young people to be sitting at the back bench. And this is what is causing the animosity, where the young people are saying, we feel excluded, we feel we want to be more engaged. And one of the biggest hallmarks of any democracy, Sam, is inclusivity. Inclusivity is the bedrock with which we have people being engaged at the highest level to the lowest level. So most of the countries in Africa must seize this opportunity. The young people have brilliant ideas. The young people are futuristic. And if we are able to tap into their knowledge and tech savviness, it can help Africa expand in different dimensions. Show me a country that has been able to achieve growth that they did not include the young people. When you include the young people, the dynamics change. So it is really a critical juncture. Africa is at a crossroad where they have to really re-examine and say, how do we create an engagement platform that we can always have the youth people in active leadership? Recently, Rwanda hosted the Youth Connect. This is a big event that draws together over 5,000 youth from Africa. And one of the biggest conversations that was happening is, how do we tap into the youth as well as into artificial intelligence? And the young people are right now Africa's best resource.
Do you think they are all up to the task to have this one concluded and taken in a very innovative way?
Well, Sam, that's $1 million question. Every leader right now in Africa has already seen the reawakening of the Gen Z. And some of the countries that we keep a close watch on, they are really trying their best. I've seen here in Rwanda, President Paul Kagame is a darling to the youth. He tries to interact with them. He hosts youth forums. He's met the creatives. And all this signal to a leader who is keen on engaging. We've also seen Kenya's President William Ruto attempting to reach out to the young people. President Samia Suluhu in Tanzania. Yeah. We've also seen a few attempts, even in Uganda. President Yoweri Museveni is also really trying to work hard to be able to talk to these young people. But I still feel we are far from reaching the mark. It is not just about calling the young people in a conference hall to talk to them. The young people are saying, it's, in as much as you're calling us to have a chat, we also want to sit in positions of influence. And countries must realize that the young people can no longer be a pushover. The young people must be given an opportunity to sit at the table. They may be inexperienced, they may have not acquired the right knowledge in terms of governance and leadership, but there's nothing that hurts by giving it a shot. Like they say, shoot your shot. So the young people right now in Africa, I believe they can be a critical asset if engaged actively, so that once they see one of their own that is among the political class, it gives them the hope that there's a better tomorrow.
But Abi, quickly, I think as much as the government probably does all that to help the youth, the private sector and the civil society, I think, have a role to play. What's your take on that?
Well, Sam, we've seen the private sector are the biggest employers because government can only create the business environment. But private sector are the people who are supposed to create more jobs. Private sector has been very instrumental in opening up job opportunities for the young people. But also the private sector is facing numerous challenges, from high cost of doing business that is forcing them to downsize. This is also affecting the youth, where companies are saying we have to lay off employees because of the harsh economic times. So we have to also see how can the government support the private sector so that we don't end up in a dilemma where you're losing quality people because of a business environment that is not conducive. So governments must really support private sector. When you look at civil society, they have been very active in terms of mobilizing the young people, helping them to champion for their cause, for change. And probably more and more young people right now are getting to a point where they are working closely with with the civil society, especially when it comes to getting information, when the young people are also trying to be part of campaigns. And the campaigns range from campaigns against drug abuse, campaigns against the health sector around HIV prevention, abstinence. So the civil society has also been quite active. We've seen them hosting concerts, we've seen them hosting workshops, but this has to be done more and more and more, so that they can reach out to the people even in the remotest parts of Africa.
Absolutely, absolutely. Abi, finally, our time is fast spent, but looking ahead, what do you see the future of African youth like? And what message would you probably give to the young people out there who are watching us or who are trying to learn a few things, one or two, in their grapple with life?
Well, Sam, I see the future of the youth being driven by three things. The first one, skills. The young people must move away from the traditional sectors and tap into new skills that the world is going. Number two, the young people must also use technology appropriately. There are all manner and forms of technology right now, from social media to name it. I think the young people can benefit more by using technology in an appropriate way. We've seen young people starting their businesses, pushing their businesses on social media, and even being able to go regional. So I feel social media can be put to good use by young people, and at the same time it can be a platform where they can break into different horizons. Finally, young people listening to our show today, the future believes in those who believe in the future of their dreams. Right now we are in an era of artificial intelligence, Many have said, oh, artificial intelligence will replace people. It will make us not to have jobs. But remember, artificial intelligence can be used for good. AI for good. By this I mean AI can come in to reduce repetitive routines. How do you use artificial intelligence, for example, if you are a university student, to be able to do more research, as opposed to using AI to copy assignments? You can use AI to build your research base. You can also use AI in different forms. So all I'm trying to say in a nutshell is...
I think even the working class has a lot of things to get from AI. There are so
Exactly.
many tools that help in this regard.
You know better, Sam. You use AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are a veteran in this line. You've used AI on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
So people should not fear more about AI, but they should look at how do I use AI to better myself, to better my output, and not seeing AI as a threat, as a death sentence. So it is imperative on the young people to remember those three things I've just shared, that the future is with those who are bold, the future is also with those who are tech savvy, and also the future is those who are willing and ready to risk.
Wow. Thank you, my brother. Thanks for sharing your insights on such an important and timely topic. To our viewers out there, Africa's youth are not leaders of tomorrow, they are leaders of today. Now, this is our perspective, but we are also coming out for you. We want your perspective about it. The youth in Rwanda have their opinion about youth empowerment in Africa and the world at large. Let's sample some of your views because they matter in this discussion. Hello, I'm a journalist and I'm discussing about empowerment of the youth in Africa and the world at large.
Okay, my name is Ramu Morampudi. So I was working in Rwanda past 14 years as a general manager in Shrikam Limited. And as you said, empowerment youth and all. So this is the very good opportunity to learn the technical side and technology wise, IT related whatever. So these days the youth were very strong and they're coming very talentedly, and where I can advise to the some governments can invest some training sessions and all, and improve the more IT related, so to get more training on them. So at least they can youth can be very strong to get their talent and to improve the to their working things and all, and they are very helpful to us. And these days Africa, it's not a small continent, it's very big and population wise and everything. So for sure world is looking to the Africa, I can say, technology wise and whatever it is.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Yeah, please.
My name is Celine and I'm the head of marketing at IBABA. Our focus is on customer satisfaction. We make sure to go beyond what our customers expect us to deliver. So you are welcome to visit Rwanda. Most of us here at IBABA, we are youth. I think our government has done more to empower youth because we have so many innovation hubs. Women-led businesses are being empowered and supported, but I think there is more that can be done, from improving the level of education to make sure it meets the current market needs, because most of the time the skills that we get from schools do not match what the market really needs. And I think that's what needs to be done, and also to keep empowering women business to be able to be confident enough to pursue what they need.
In my opinion, I think the youth can be empowered a lot through literacy and capacity building. Right now, what we lack is, we have the tools, at least in my country, in our jurisdiction, the there's a lot of laws, there's a lot of initiatives that give us the tools to better ourselves. However, even with the tools that we have, we are not able to capitalize or use them to better ourselves. So I think capacity building and building literacy with said tools, this can stretch from artificial intelligence all the way to other emerging technologies, and how to use them for our benefit and how to make it build our career is one way you can empower youth.
We are grateful for our country that a lot has been put in place. There are so many opportunities that the country has done a lot to empower the youth, especially in our country and in Africa in general, because Rwanda targets, it's targeting global connections and the networks, so that at least one can be able to fit in wherever they can, as per their experience, as per their knowledge, as per their education, and so many other opportunities. So we are grateful that Rwanda has done a lot, has been put in place. You see the tech hubs, you see people in agribusiness, people in with talents. So many things have been done to empower the youth in our country.
Our viewers, the perspective is out there looking for your opinion. This is our perspective, but your perspective also matters. Until then, bye-bye.